Welcome back to Fox 43 AM Live. Well, today's book of the week comes from Sherry Hess at the Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library.
It's a wonderful children's book that'll have you learning about new cultures and reminiscing about days gone by. Check it out. I'm back here at the Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library. It's time for the book of the week. Today we're talking about Just Like Grandma.
This actually is a debut picture book.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so it's the first book written, or first picture book written by the author Kim Rogers. And it is a sweet, sweet story. It is truly the relationship, the bond between a grandmother and her granddaughter. And we hear and we see a little glimpse of this family and the dynamic that's there. And I like it because we see a little bit of the food and the traditions and the activities that they're involved in. And it's beautiful because this is a family that is also a native or indigenous family. So we see beading moccasins, we see a beautiful dance, we hear about tasty food, and it's all part of this dance, this rhythm that's happening between the grandmother and the granddaughter. And the repetitive verse that happens throughout the book is the little girl says, "I want to be just like Grandma." And it is so sweet because the little girl sees her grandmother beading moccasins. She sees her painting the landscape. She sees her dancing for her upcoming powwow, and the little girl says every time, "I want to be just like Grandma." But then it reverses, and the grandma sees a little girl practicing basketball and shooting hoops, and the grandma has the thought, "I want to be just like Becca, the little girl." And the little girl tells her grandma that she's practicing basketball because she wants to make the team. So they play and they practice, and again, it's just a sweet tale. And it's cool because throughout the story also woven is the grandfather. And it's neat because he's the one who's cooking the food, and it's part of the rhyme is the foods that he's cooking. And again, it's part of that native culture as well. And it's just a really, really beautiful story, and a masterpiece for a debut picture book. I want to show you a couple of my favorite.
Yes, please. It sounds like such a wonderful story. I love the generational gap stories. We've talked about those before, but I like this one. It kind of turns on its head a little bit to where the grandma wants to be like the granddaughter, and you have the grandfather involved. Wow.
One of my favorite pictures is this one. And then I also love, and again, that kind of just opens the whole book as far as the culture that we're invited to be a part of, which I think is just incredibly fascinating, but also beautiful. I also love this picture where they're talking about practicing for an upcoming powwow and the dance.
That's beautiful.
It's just gorgeous. And the illustrations are not like in your face, they're just subtle, and the details are just waiting for you to draw them out and to see more about them and to want to know more about it.
It's absolutely fantastic. Like just for that picture we saw, you mentioned the dancing was in there. It's so difficult to capture motion in pictures, and I think they did it wonderfully.
You bet. In the back of this book, they have a glossary.
Oh,
so,
I love glossaries.
Me
in the
too.
back of kids'
So
books.
it introduces some of the things that you heard them talk about as far as the different food and the dancing, and just really cool.
That is absolutely beadwork, glossary, fried bread.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God.
Dance. That's wonderful. It's great when you can mix kind of a story for children, but with a little bit of information, because those are the things you end up really surprisingly learn and remember over the years.
True. It's true. As well as I like the piece that they mentioned about beadwork and how exquisite and how masterful and skilled those artists are, because it truly is artwork. And it's nice because both the author and illustrator are both part of an indigenous group, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful story. The author, Kim Rogers, has more books coming out in 2023, so I'm really hopeful and excited to see more of what she has in store for us.
That sounds great. Sherry, thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Everyone check it out at the Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library. Thank you so much.
Thank you.